Hello everyone, I would like to welcome you in this online event. So this is a presentation for the program Critical Media Studies, which is a master's program offered by Higher School of Economics, the Media School of Higher School of Economics. So I am Panos Kompatsiaris and I am the academic supervisor of the program. I am today with Yannis Milonas, who is a professor in the program as well. And we're going to be speaking, we're going to be introducing this master's program to you. And so I'm going to start with a presentation saying a few things about the concept and the main ideas behind this master's. As well as speaking about several activities that we have, and in the end, I'm going to speak about the ways that you can apply in this program. So let us start perhaps with the slides. Okay. So, as I said, Critical Media Studies is a master's program offered by the School of Media at the Higher School of Economics. And we started this program this year, so this is the first year that the program is running. And we're very happy to do that. This was a lifelong dream, if you want, for the department, and especially the foreign professors and experts working in the media school. So just to say for the start, so for those of you who are not familiar with it, the whole program is taught in English language, so all the courses we have are in English. So Russian is not an obligatory language in order to attend and in order to enter this program in the first place. So this is just to make it clear for everyone if there are any doubts about it. So it is the first year we started the program, and we're very excited to do that. We have a very strong, as it seems so far at least, intellectual community composed both by the students and the professors. Okay, so a few things about the field, about what we mean when we speak about critical media studies. So, as you may imagine, first of all, critical studies is a part of media studies. So this means that the main focus is media, actually. So I'm going to focus a little bit more on the critical aspect of critical media studies, because I guess that most of you may be one way or another familiar with media studies as a field. So starting with the criticality or the critical outlook, so what we try to do, what we try to offer to the students of this program is a question, if you want, an understanding of the ways that media shape our lives, the ways that are connected with aspects of institutional power, how users, how us every day engage and relate with media, or with aspects of civic engagement. So this is a component that is quite important for us to see how media can be used for advancing, if you want, progressive social causes. So this is about the critical aspect of it. Now, I should say that critical media studies and the way that we try to practice critical media studies in our department involves a certain degree of interdisciplinarity. So what we mean by that, we mean that we try to open as much as we can the field of media studies and see it in relation to other fields of study. Fields of studies such as communication studies, anthropology, sociology, political economy, visual studies. And we try to do that in order to try and incorporate perhaps the best from these fields and bring them in the study of media. So just for now, I should say that interdisciplinarity is also important because for those of you who may be coming from other backgrounds, other related fields, this program may be particularly suited, and you are very, very welcome to apply and bring your knowledge of these fields to our program. The third aspect that I would like to focus on has to do with what is called intermediality, which is an engagement with different types of media, so from traditional media such as television and radio, photography, let's say, if we can think of photography as a traditional media, to digital media such as films, apps, artworks even, things having to do around fashion and design. The next point, which is again quite important for us, is an emphasis on the contemporary moment. So of course we are teaching and exploring things having to do with the past, and of course many of the theories that we discuss about own themselves or somehow devolve from theories around, let's say, critical theory or traditional media studies. We try to put a lot of focus in engaging with current and relevant research topics happening in the world right now. There is a lot of emphasis on decoding, if you want, or reading our information landscape according to themes, subjects, and so on that appear with us in the screens that we engage with daily. And also, we're putting a lot of emphasis on contemporary theory, and this is an important aspect in the sense that we offer a lot of readings and a lot of aspects on debates that are happening right now in academia. So contemporaneity or contemporariness is another important aspect of this program. Now, a few things about the issues that we discuss, and I'm going to say more things as we pass to the next slide that has to do with the courses. So the issues have to do with coming from the tradition again of critical theory and media studies. So we're going to be focusing on aspects around class, around gender, around race. We're going to be looking at audience responses, such as how communities or fan communities interpret certain social events or phenomena. We're going to be speaking about platforms, platform society, platform economy, populism, issues of power, stuff around data and the data analysis, information, connectivity, networks, and so on. So again, these issues are inherent perhaps to the field of media studies, and especially in the ways that media and cultural studies have been evolved the last decades. But as I said before, we try to take these issues and apply them, if you want, in as much as contemporary phenomena as possible. Okay, so a few things about the core courses of the program and the main ideas behind these courses. So the first course, so these core courses run for both years. This year they started in module 2, and they're going to last until the 4th module, so the end of the first year. And next year there are also classes that are within these courses. So these are very important courses for the program. And we decided to name these courses as such, or to select, if you want, these particular courses in order to perhaps bring a correspondence to the main theoretical trajectories and conceptual trajectories related to media studies, okay? So the first one, which is led by the professor Ilya Kyria, who is a professor in our department, he's the head of the school, is called Critical Political Economy. So in this course, issues around media ownership, regulation, policy, and financing are discussed from a critical perspective. So the ways that political economy influences or makes its impact upon media institutions and the way they produce content from a critical perspective. So this has to do with stuff such as around questions having to do with the industry, if you want. The second one is led by the professor in our department, Olga Baisa, and is called Critical Text Analysis. And this course relates to topics around representation, semiotics, discourse analysis, things such as globalization and globalized communications. And this is also a very important aspect of critical media studies and media studies in general, in the sense that through critical text analysis, we learn how to better and more critically and more in a more informed way read the texts that appear to us every day, read images perhaps, and apply textual analysis, different types of research. And the third one, which is led by myself, is called Culture, Media and Research. And this course is mostly related to audience responses, users' engagements, the way that communities or networks may be interpreting some phenomena, subcultures, media uses, cultural institutions. We're going to be speaking also about distinctions between art and popular culture and how media kind of inform perhaps the dissolution of this distinction or the blurring of the boundaries between this distinction. So the focus is on media cultures or cultures of media or cultures in media, if you want, and aspects of research having to do with this perspective. Okay, just to move on, I'm going to briefly mention some of the elective courses that we have for the first year of this program. So what we tried to do with the elective courses was to try and offer some more broader perspectives around media studies in relation to that somehow discuss, if you want, with the core courses of the program. And in some ways also contextualize some issues discussed in the core courses of the program within more particular settings. Okay, so we have the course called Critical Aesthetics, taught by Katie Tsukrov, who is a professor at Higher School of Economics in Moscow. A course on conspiracy theories, which is taught by Ilya Yablakov from the University of Leeds. A course on art and society in Russia, which is taught by Ilya Butraitskis from the Moscow School of Social and Economic Sciences. A course on the politics of digital media from Athina Karatzogianni, who is teaching at the University of Leicester. A course on gender, media and culture by Rita Kuleva, who is from Higher School of Economics in St. Petersburg. And a course on media scandals by Volya Verbilovic, which is a professor of the Higher School in the Higher School of Economics in Moscow. So this, so for the students that are part of the program, it is given, the opportunity is given to choose which elective suits more the research interests, and perhaps try and apply the insights from this elective into their research, into their final thesis, or the papers they write. Okay. In addition, precisely because it is a research-driven program, we put a lot of emphasis on what we call research seminars. So there is a lot of emphasis on this component, if you want, of media studies, which is how to make research. So following from that, we try to cover different perspectives, if you want, or different methodologies, different ways to carry research. And it is really one of our aims to be able to, if you want, produce, in quotation marks, graduates who will be able to do high quality research, and of course who will be able to take this knowledge and apply it later in a PhD program or in a career in academia. So we put a lot of emphasis on research methods, on how to apply these research methods in papers and in the final thesis. And this is, of course, one of the most tricky or difficult aspects of studying. So always methods and methodology is a big problem for even for established researchers, I would say. So we try to pay a lot of attention on that, on how to do correctly the research, how to be able to publish in academic journals after you graduate, or if you are good enough during your studies. So this is a very important component. So some of the things that we are teaching in these seminars involve, of course, quantitative and qualitative methods, research perspectives having to do with data mining, for example, audience research, framing theory, as we said, discourse analysis. So we really hope to be able to cover the most important methods around media studies, and also to be able to cover the students' wishes, if you want, in applying the methods that they wish, or the methods that they that suit them in their projects. Now, I should also say that it is very important for us to introduce a very international outlook in our program. So that's why we try to have every year different invited professors from abroad. Of course, this year with the pandemic, it has been a little bit more challenging, and most of the lectures will be happening online, as you may know. But we really put a lot of emphasis on that, on how to build collaborations, and how to give, if you want, the students the perspective of international institutions and the way that such subjects are taught in international institutions. So here is a list of professors who will be teaching, either will be teaching in this first year, or have agreed to teach at some point during this program. So it's just an indicative research for you to see that it is a quite broad international audience, international, if you want, institutions that are represented in this list. Okay. Now, a few things about the learning philosophy. Another important component, at least in my opinion, of the educational process is for a program to have its own learning philosophy that will try, because it's always an effort, that will try to instill it in the ways that professors are conducting their courses, and the way that professors collaborate with students in general, because there are many instances in which professors will have in one way or another to collaborate with students. So first of all, we expect students to participate in the classes, so to bring their own opinions, to form their own informed, if you want, viewpoint in the things that we are discussing in the classes. So we put a lot of emphasis on that, a lot of emphasis on trying to give the opportunity to students to make their own mind, if you want, about the issues that we discuss. So the first aspect of our learning philosophy is participation, so participatory learning. The second has to do with prioritizing, if you want, oral and written feedback to the students rather than prioritizing grades. Okay, the grades should be there because it is part of the educational process, but what we try and prioritize as a group, as professors in this program, is to give feedback to students and to really try and make students improve through this feedback. Because the grade is usually just a number, and sometimes it's a bit challenging for students to improve themselves if they just take perhaps a faceless grade. It's a very cold kind of way of measuring academic outputs. And the third is practice-based, and I will explain what I mean by practice-based. Of course, it's a theory program, but as a practice-based learning philosophy, I mean the intersection between theory and empirical studies. So most of us teaching in this program, so the core group of the School of Media professors, try to apply, if you want, or try to look theory through particular case studies, okay? So, of course, philosophical perspectives and aspects are very welcome, and we're going to be discussing that, but we'll be encouraging students to try and see theory through particular case studies and through collecting empirical material. So, an emphasis on the empirical material. Okay. Some other points of focus I will be discussing. So it has to do, as I said before, there's going to be collaboration. We hope that there is collaboration between students and professors. So it is also part of our aims to be able to initiate research projects with the students. To be able to make students and professors work together also for certain research outputs rather than just for their term papers. I referred to before to international collaboration, so we put a lot of emphasis on building, if you want, an international community through which students will have the opportunity to broaden their horizons, but as well as make perhaps hopefully collaborations or networking with professors and students from other universities. One of our aims also, as you understand with COVID now, this is very challenging, but in the future we would like to initiate exchange with partner universities. So this means that students will have the opportunity to go physically and study in universities abroad, and students from universities abroad will have the opportunity to come in Moscow for a module or for a semester, depending on the occasion. Another point I would like to point out is that there is also the opportunity to do internships, and this is going to take place in the end of the first year for the students studying now. So in order to apply what they know in some more concrete environments, through some more concrete, perhaps, situations. Another aspect I would like to stress is that this is something that we build now, and we think it is going to be an important vehicle, if you want, for students studying in the program to familiarize themselves with the process of academic research and, more importantly, academic writing. So we're right now building a publication platform which is going to be related to the critical media studies program. So this is going to be a journal or a type of, if you want, academic blogging, where we will be encouraging students studying in the program to send their papers, or we will going to be recommending the best papers of the students to be published in this platform. So the idea is to have a theoretically informed, current and innovative research on critical media and cultural studies. Again, students will have the opportunity to publish their works after, of course, editorial review. Students, of course, are not going to be the only people publishing in this journal. This journal will be open for everyone around the world. So we hope to attract international writers as well, so as to have also this convergence, if you want, of our group of students with more international, perhaps, research and writing. We hope to build this journal also as a type of cluster, if you want, that will involve different types of activities. So by using this platform, students are very welcome to collaborate or between them, or to collaborate with us in organizing seminars, conferences, different events. So this is something that we are currently building, and I believe will be very useful for the students taking part in critical media studies. Okay, so I think I'm going to stop here in relation to the more theoretical or more conceptual trajectories of the program. I'm going to say a few things about the application process. I know you may have some questions about that, so I'm just going to go through them, through the different points related to the application rather quickly, and then perhaps in the questions, if you want to elaborate on something, you can ask more. There is a portfolio competition taking place, which usually starts, if I'm not mistaken, around June or July. And in this portfolio competition, we expect candidates to submit 4 things. So one is a CV that would involve their previous, their past education, their background, their experiences, also possible academic publications or participation in academic events. Also, the second document is a personal statement where students will need to show their motivation for entering the program and what they want to take out of it in the end. Perhaps the most important document is what we call a research statement. So this is a statement of around 3 to 4 pages, where students, where applicants detail which area of critical media studies are interested in, and include also some theoretical or methodological references, the areas of media studies that are familiar and they would like to pursue through this master's program. So this is an important document, and it is the one that counts perhaps more than the rest in making us decide whom to take, whom not. And last is the academic references, which is something that I guess most of you may be familiar with. Okay, we also have the Olympiad competition that, if I'm not mistaken, is taking place in the first months of the next year, of the coming year. So please keep an eye on the website and on relevant sources to see when this is happening, in case you're interested to apply for the Olympiad, which is a competition that happens for Russian students, where how we did it last year. So last year we gave 3 different topics to applicants, and the applicants had to choose one of these 3 topics and write within, if I'm not mistaken, 1 day, the response or an essay in relation to the topic they chose. So these topics are very much related and connected to what we are teaching in critical media studies and the things that I've been telling you so far. Okay, so I think I should stop here and perhaps give the floor to Yannis Milonas, who is a professor in our department, and he is in the professors who teach and initiated this program. Yeah, so Yannis, if you want to say something about it.
Thank you, Panos, and good evening, everybody. My name is Yannis Milonas, and I've been working at the Media School, the Higher School of Economics, for the last 6 years. I will say a few things about myself, and then I will be talking about the courses that I'm teaching for the program. So, before working in Moscow, I worked as a postdoctoral researcher and a lecturer at Lund University in Sweden, at Media Communications Department, and also at Copenhagen University, Department of Cultural Studies and Media Communication Studies. I also did my PhD in Copenhagen. So I have a background in cultural studies and media communication studies of about 10 years, a little bit more. So for the program, I will be teaching 2 courses that are part of the general stream that is called Critical Text Studies, where we are mainly focusing on the research and on the analysis of media content. The kind of courses that I'm teaching are related to qualitative analysis, which means that we are looking at, in a rather concrete and deep, if we can say that way, in the ways that the media produce their content. And we focus on the ways that the media represent a variety of social related issues of political importance as well. So the first course, the course that I'm teaching for the first year, is called Discourse Theory Analysis, while on the second year I'm teaching a course on contemporary theories of culture and society. So both courses deal with questions related to media representation. We focus on a lot of contemporary issues, issues related to, for instance, political conflict, political debates that may be occurring on a national or global level. We'll also be looking at the issues connected to cultural identity and the ways that different identities are being represented in the media. By identity, I refer to ethnic identity or nationality, gender identity, class identity, and so on. So issues such as media and racism, for instance, to become more concrete, media and populism, economic crisis and the ways that they appear in the media, the ways that they affect the discussion in the public sphere of a given society, are things that we will be talking about and looking at how they can be analyzed, from a critical point of view. So both courses offer theoretical perspectives as well as analytical tools connected to the premises of discourse analysis and discourse theory in order to approach and scrutinize the media and media content. Both courses will be evaluated based on the regular presence and participation of the students and their involvement in student tasks, individual and collective ones, in the seminars that will unfold in the seminars of the courses. And at the same time, students will also be evaluated on the final home written assignment on a topic that the students themselves should choose. So in other words, the students need to engage with the readings, with the topics, with the discussions that will take place during the course, during our meetings in the classroom. And then they can discuss with me or with other supervisors about the topic of their choice, the topic that they want to write about, as part of their final assignment for the courses. And I will also be offering supervision for the final thesis of the students to graduate from the general program. The kind of supervision that I offer is also connected to the analysis of media text, the analysis of media content, preferably coming from a qualitative background and associated research questions to qualitative research. But at the same time, we can also be flexible. We can also associate these sort of ideas with quantitative research. The guest lecturers that we will have for the seminars can also create this sort of intellectual and research-based bridges between qualitative and quantitative analysis of media content and other related fields. So I will pass the word again to Panos.
Okay, thank you very much, Yannis, for the very informative analysis of your courses and your research interests. And I guess now we can look at some questions or comments that you might have. So I'm just looking at the YouTube chat here. Arfa. Arfa says that he is concerned with class struggle and class conflict. I think class analysis is quite important in the courses of many of us, and it is within our research interests. So if you're looking for class analysis or class perspectives or theories related to class and media, this is a very much related aspect of our program. So we very much welcome this type of analysis and we'll be very happy to see you applying ARFA. Okay, so this was just a general comment. There was no question there. Mira says, what should I include in portfolio if I don't have any background in research studies or conferences? So first of all, to say that, as I said, the portfolio is divided in these 4 documents. So there is one document, which is the CV, which is where you should put any experience, if you want, or background in research or conferences and so on. So for the rest 3 documents, you don't need to include this information. So in the CV, if you don't have any background in research or conferences, you simply don't include this information. You don't have to necessarily, this is not a prerequisite of the program, it's not necessary to have research background in order to be admitted. So you can apply it without having some research background. But of course, then we're going to be looking at the document, which is the research statement, where you need to show some familiarity with research, okay? So by evaluating the document of research, I mean, if your research statement is good, then you're good to go in many ways without including in the CV any references or on the academic events or your research background. So so this is only relevant to the CV. So if you don't have any research background, please feel free to not include this information. Okay. It's C. I'm really sorry for ARFA. I misgendered, so it's a very bad thing to do. So yes, so ARFA, I apologize about that, and you're very welcome to apply in the program. Okay. So I don't see any other questions here. So I guess if you have any questions, now is the time to ask. I'm also, personally, I'm also available via email. You can ask me whatever you want and we can discuss. So if you have any comments, queries, questions about either theoretical stuff or practicalities, please drop me a message and I will reply to you as soon as possible. Okay. Okay, so I would like to thank you very much. If there are no other questions, I would like to thank you very much for attending this event, and thank you very much for your attention, and we're really looking forward to receiving your applications for the program. And yes, once again, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.